What's that? Artboards are part of why I find Photoshop to be such a chore. No, Photoshop has artboards. You can do the same thing in Photoshop. You can do this exact same stuff in Photoshop. It's weirder though. It's a little bit weirder, but they're definitely there. You want me to show you how to use them? How to do the Photoshop artboards? Those are also handy. Alright, let's do that. Let's do a quick tutorial in Photoshop before I have to drop out here and go do some chores. I'll be back on later though. Yeah, I hate splitting that up. Alright, safety save. Let's go to Photoshop real quick. Oh, read only? Yeah, so Illustrator. Why do you do that? Something with Google Drive, I think. Alright, so Photoshop, go to New. And then from Document Type, do Artboard. And you can also convert an existing document over to artboards pretty easily. It's just better to start that way because you already get the artboard on there. I'm gonna go. What's all this? This is all default stuff, I think. Yeah, this is kind of meant for like UX design and things like that, like screenshots and stuff. But it works for a lot of different things. We'll just keep it small, I guess. Apple Watch. Like anyone uses that. Hit OK. Okay, so when you're first in here, your artboards are going to be in a folder. We're going to call this Screen 1. I like to name it, so we'll do like 1024, 768, whatever. Up at the top, you can change the size of your document by typing it up here. So we go 1024, 768. So we have this thing, which if you just export right now, or if you just work on it normally, you'd never know the difference. It's like any other Photoshop document. This has been in here for the last few versions, I think. Okay, so if I start drawing in it, I can draw off the canvas, right? Do a new one. So we've got artboard. If you move your artwork around, you can get it off the canvas, and it doesn't. Well, that's not even a good example. But this, think of this more like a I guess it's a mask, maybe, the way it works. To where whatever you do or put in here is masked to that. But let me show you what you can actually do with the artboard. So if you're working with an artboard in Photoshop, the way I use them at work is when we do social media campaigns. I have an artboard set up for like Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, our blog, all the different sizes I have in one document. So if we hit plus on the edge of that, you can also go like new artboard too. We'll call this one Screen 2. We'll make it like 1200 by 1200. I always make the name the dimensions of it, just it helps me figure out what everything is when I'm looking at the files. So we go 1200 by 1200, and now we have like two documents we're working with. If you drag something from one artboard over to the other one, it will move itself in your layers. So your artboards are like a folder, and all your layers go inside that folder. If I take my layer from this artboard, you don't even know they're artboards except for the arrow right there. It's different than a regular folder. If I take this layer and drag it down to the other one, it will physically move that artwork over to the other artboard. And see, as I'm dragging it over, it's masking it, but you don't see it showing up in the other one yet until I like bring it all the way over. And so my normal setup at work then is, let's see, Facebook is like 1200 by 630, I think is what we do. You can drag these guys around too. Smart guys will help you snap them. We'll do one more. And And then like, let's see, our blog is, let's see, what's Twitter? Twitter's 1024 by 512. So okay, look at us, we're running a social media campaign. I'm gonna open a photo and just make it interesting. Let's see. Those pins. Stop using my pen, actually. Yeah, the plus sides. As long as you have it selected, it'll give you the option of where the new artboard is going. And just clicking it will make an exact copy of the current one without the stuff that's in the current one. So let's drag. Oh, see, I just made an artboard. If you're in somewhere and this is not an artboard, underneath the move tool is the artboard tool. You just click and drag and it'll make an artboard, and then you can come up here to the top and adjust it. So you got like 1200 by 1200, and then inside there you've got your art. But that's how you do it to an existing thing. So for here, it gets really fancy when you start using like smart objects. Like if I converted this to a smart object, I can go, let's do convert to smart object, okay. And then I'm gonna make a copy, move it over to here, I guess. Since we're a smart object, we can scale it and do other things. Example only, I would never distort something like that. Blasphemy. J. Put one here. And then we'll put the other one down here. So I have the same thing on all these different artboards. Now, when you go to export it, use the new export option. The file, it's called export as Control-Alt-Shift-W. It's like the new Save for Web type thing. Now in here you see all of your different artboards and what they're going to look like. You can change the options for each one. This is the best part. I love this. So like Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest all get PNGs. The blog gets a JPEG because we don't want to kill bandwidth. We make that like 65%. So you can manage each one of your artboard's export options individually. You can also change them on the fly if you're like, well, 1200 by 1200 is too big. We only need like 730 by 730 for Pinterest. You can just change the dimensions there, and it will resize that canvas just on the export, not in the document, to that. And then you just hit export all. Pick where you want them. Just throw them on the desktop. Just hit export. And so now it automatically generated all 4 of those artboards as their own file. This one's 1024 by 768, this one's 730 by 730. So you get all of this stuff. Whatever you're working on comes out as an artboard. Okay. And then if you're using smart objects, which we are, if we double click it, we're going to go view. Where is it? Oh, it's window. Arrange 2 up vertical. So I can work on the smart object over here. Let me go back to my pen. Yeah, it's great for social media stuff where you have to generate a bunch of assets in different sizes of the same thing. The one dock to the other in Photoshop, you can just click like the artwork here. Like if I want to move this, I can just click and drag it and then drop it over here and see it shows up. But if you're using smart objects, so all 4 of these guys are the same exact smart object. And what I did in the beginning is I just used the original one, and you right click on the layer and go convert to smart object, and it makes it like a non-destructible. What it does is it takes that layer, puts it in its own document, which is over here, and lets you change that. So if we wanted to like modify this, if I hit save on that, it automatically updates all of the other smart objects in your document, in your artboard document. So if you want to work on just one thing over here, you can. Let's give him a mustache. So everything you do to the one, every time I hit save, it automatically will refresh all your artboards and the other things. So this is more just like my export view. And then, you know, you can like minimize it, just kind of get it out of the way. But just arrange your windows to whatever, you know, tickles your fancy. And you just work on your original piece. Like if you had a bunch of layers, you would make those layers a smart object. Work on that after you've arranged how you want it. Burn the witch, I know. Yeah, I think CS3 does have this. Maybe not the artboards, but it definitely has smart objects. And you can do like, you know, you can have one document with your smart object and then you can work on it over here. But it's really nice if you're trying to, like, let's say you have a composition where you've got like a person who you need to clip out and you've already got them on their background, like, so pretend there's like person on background here. Well, you can continue to work on clipping just the person out who's a smart object, and then every time you hit save you can see how it's looking in the final comp. Hey 6 SC2, hold on, I'm being summoned. I'm gonna have to leave here in a few minutes, just give me a second, but I'll be back on later today for sure, for definite, for real. So yeah, check out artboards. I'll be right back.